It's been a rough 48 hours for everybody I've been talking to today. Obviously, you're not the only one. Talked to, 3 other MAC coaches, yourself, Coach Stutzman, Andersey, and Joel Greenlee. Colin Moore, Zach Carson today. I'm going to talk to Cheek tomorrow. Your guy, your qualifier. But, a lot to digest here in your guys' lives. Obviously, when did you get the news, by the way, and where were you guys?
I was actually out of town on Thursday. I was over in Pennsylvania visiting some family, and I was following some of the stuff that was going on my phone a little bit and texting with Coach Boomer. And, you could kind of see how things were developing along the way with other sports, and you just saw it coming down the line. I think we were all hoping that, they wouldn't do that to us, but it was in the afternoon sometime on Thursday. They pulled the plug, and before that, I think we had a meeting at 11 that Boomer, Coach Musser went to, and they basically said, hey, we can't keep anybody on campus at this point except for Evan and a few workout partners. So at that point, we were trying to figure out who was going to stay around to work out with Evan for the next 3 or 4 days before we took off. But then, a few hours later, it didn't matter anymore.
So, most of the coaches I've talked to, everybody I've talked to, we fought World War II with no interruption of the NCAA tournament, of the basketball. And, it was crazy. They're canceling the Final Four. And as one of the coaches stated yesterday, a lot of that money trickles down, whether it's MAC tournament money, whether it's NCAA money, all that money. Basketball runs a lot of what's going on. Basketball and football are the big revenue sports, right?
Yep.
They've never, it's unprecedented, right? And now your championships are canceled. What do you think that says for the severity of the situation and the seriousness of what we got going on here and the potential risk to human life?
I think everybody just being precautious. I'm sure everybody you talk to is feeling the same way. When you're talking about human lives, I guess everybody kind of thinks a little harder and looks at the bigger picture, hopefully. I'm sure, I'd say 90% of the people out there, I'm sure, are agreeing that this is an overreaction. It's really not going to be that bad. But I guess until it fully hits the United States and hits this area and totally comes around, I guess everybody's kind of just waiting to see what's going to happen. So instead of waiting to see, people want to do something. And I guess I had my son at the ER yesterday. He fell down and had to get some stitches, and the doctor even said the same thing. He's like, hey, we're gonna have to do something, society. We can't sit around and wait for bad things to occur. We have to try to be proactive, and that's exactly what's going on.
Where were you for 9/11? You were at Penn State. What year? Were you a freshman or sophomore? Sophomore?
I was
2001. Junior?
Yeah, I think it was in my sophomore year. Yeah, I remember I was in one of my classes in the morning time. One of the cooler professors I had down there, and Mr. Texador, he was kind of like, we were talking about the first plane that hit, and then I think when we were in class, another one hit, and then boom, we were out of class.
That whole thing was crazy. But, here's the thing about this. Even if you look at World War II, Pearl Harbor, you look at 9/11, Manhattan, D.C., and then, Pennsylvania, that was an enemy combatant attacking us, whereas now, it's an illness, a respiratory illness with, and the biggest risk is obviously not your guys. Your guys are not the risk. You're not at risk. Clint, Boomer, Evan, Cheek, that's not who's at risk. Who's at risk is your parents, my parents, you know what I mean? And I think that's, like you're saying when we talk precautions. What do you say to Evan Cheek, and like, how did you address him? And you had one guy qualified, and it's his 5th year. What do you say to that guy? You know, I talked to two fifth-year guys today in Zach Carson and Colin Moore, but what do you say to him?
I mean, it's hard to sit there and I guess tell him everything's going to be okay. I mean, I think he's a smart enough kid, and all these kids were following social media and following this stuff the whole last 3-4 weeks. So they, you know, it had to be in the back of their minds. I'm sure they were worried about it. But when it actually happened, like I said, I wasn't even around. So I didn't get to address our team face-to-face. I had to send a group text out, just kind of letting people know, hey, sometimes, you know, things don't work out the way you dream of and hope for. And, you know, but with any situation, it's all about making the best of it. And, you know, we got a really good group of guys. We had, like you said, we had one guy qualified, but we had basically everyone was still back on campus training to help Evan out and to, you know, to better themselves and to do it as a team. And that was our whole motto this year, was just doing things as a team and moving everybody forward and developing everybody. And I think, you know, hopefully people definitely saw the improvements we had throughout the season, just doing it as a team. But, you know, a lot of our guys, I think, got behind Evan. He's been a leader for us. He's really helped this program as a whole, coming from when he was a freshman to where we're at now. And I think that's the biggest thing hopefully he can take away from this, just the impact he's had on a program like Cleveland State and, you know, setting the standard for the upcoming years. And I don't know if he really knows what he wants to do the next stage of his life. I think has enough experience in wrestling and is a good enough person to become a coach. And, you know, I think everybody's telling him, hey, you need to stay in the sport and develop others and be a leader and you know, I guess just kind of do what you love. And he definitely loves the sport. So we're looking forward to, you know, talking with him and hopefully helping him figure out the next stages of his life after this.
Okay, the spring athletes in NCAA are going to get another year. They're going to give the spring athletes another year, is what it looks like. You guys did 95% of your season.
Right.
If it comes down to that, you know, how do you feel about giving these guys a sixth year? Did we wrestle too much? I mean, some of the guys are like, I don't even know if I'm going to come back, right? Like, that's crazy to me, right? But your body takes it takes a toll on your body. Division I college wrestling is the hardest thing you can do. If you go look at mixed martial arts, that should tell you it's the hardest thing to do, because look who dominates a lot of the, at one point or another, look at every weight division in the UFC. It's been a Division I guy. I mean, you have a Cleveland State guy who made the NCAA tournament for you, who's the toughest man on the planet, Stipe Miocic. You know, I mean, I think that's right there. It shows how you're growing them there. You know what I mean? Like, but you know, the sixth year, man. This, you know, and then if you're Gross and Sebastian, you know, those guys have come up to me. You know, like they've come up in my mind every time. Sebastian, I want to say, has 2 degrees going on 3, right? Like Colin Moore's got 2 degrees going on. You know, he would have to go on a 3rd degree, right? Like he has a master's degree. What is he? He's finishing it right now. What do you do for these guys with 6 years? What do you do with 9.9 scholarships if you have fully funded? You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. What do you think?
I mean, I always like the idea of giving them another year. I mean, if they can, I guess we could find I don't know if there's a fair way to allow these kids to come back, and as long as they're in school, advancing their academic careers, then I don't see why that's a problem. I mean, I guess, you know, talking with a lot of people, I guess if you do put it that way, you know, we did, at least got to wrestle through our conference tournament the whole year through the conference tournament. But, you know, the national tournament's just it's just different, you know. And I think if you look at a lot of the coaches out there, including myself, I don't know if I'd be in the position I'm in today if I didn't get to wrestle my senior year. You know, a lot can be gained through going there and having a good tournament and opening up eyes as far as seeing coaches that say, hey, I'm going to take a chance on him and bring him on board and let him coach with me and see how he does. So I think that's what maybe Evan is holding Evan back a little bit. Like, I think he really wants to get into coaching, and if he goes to Minneapolis and he becomes an All-American, his options open up a lot more. Sad to say that. I mean, he's a great person. He'll work hard. I mean, he'll do what you ask him to do. But at the end of the day, sometimes it's about having those credentials and being able to prove yourself at that level opens a lot of doors. So I don't know what to think. I don't know if I don't see them giving these guys another year. I'd be certainly okay with it. I'd hope we could talk Cheek into coming back for another year, and I'm sure he can handle it. He's a tough kid. I mean, he's been doing it this long, and I think his passion for the sport will continue.
Every person I've talked to so far is, Joel. Talking to Joel. Joel's like, I'm like, hey man, when can I call you? Or when can I call you back? He's like, anytime. I don't have anything to do. Right? Like, Stutzman was picking his kid up, but Zach Carson, Colin Moore today were like, yeah, we don't have anything to do. I don't have anything going on. Colin Moore's got the Olympic trials coming up. We don't know when, right? It just got postponed. But Have you ever been like this, Josh, in a situation where I don't know what to do with myself right now? And I know you got 3 boys and you're an active father, but like, have you ever been in this situation?
I can't remember a time, no. I mean, maybe after my senior year of college, finishing up, trying to figure out what I was going to do when I was graduating. I think there was some downtime, just kind of hanging out and seeing what was going to happen next. And I think this is very similar. I mean, we know, in 3 or 4 weeks from now, everything will, I think, be somewhat back to normal. We'll be back in the room. We'll be back recruiting. I mean, but the dead period right now and just the standstill is kind of, I don't know, it's boring,
Yeah.
I guess you just, it's like when you're a wrestling coach, you want to go to wrestling tournaments, you want to go recruit, you want to go. I mean, I was excited to go down to the Olympic trials in a couple weeks. So I guess we gotta figure out what's next, and there's still obviously plenty of planning to do, trying to make our schedule for next year, trying to figure out what kids maybe we're going to bring on campus once we're allowed to. Talking to some of the seniors that did visit that we're trying to get to commit. So there's still work being done, but we really can't go anywhere. We're just hanging out.
It's all on your phone. Everything you can do is on your phone. Literally, right? It's text and phone calls, isn't it? That's it. No training guys, no in-person visits. It's like literally what we're doing right now is your work for the next however many weeks. April 15th for a month.
Yep.
31 days. That's insane. And then the boys are off school, aren't they?
Yeah, my boys will be off school everybody's off school 3 weeks.
Yeah. My kid's daycare is still open. But
that's good.
Yeah, but after Monday, my wife and I, she's at Solon High School, I'm at Riverside, and it's like, you can't go to school, right? It's wild. It's crazy to think about it. And I know you got 2 workaholic assistant coaches in Clint Musser and Boomer Fetchko. Like, those guys are workers. They're hustlers. So I don't know what those guys are going to do. They might melt down. I don't know what those guys are going to do.
Yeah, they'll figure it out. I know Musser's moving houses, so he's going to, he'll get to take some time to move into his new house, get some things settled. And, it's honestly a good time to spend with the family. Going through a wrestling season, you're traveling a lot, you're doing things at nighttime. So it's a good time to hang out with the boys, get some spring cleaning done. It's some good downtime to just kind of be able to really digest things and think about things. Sometimes the season's going so fast and there's so much going on, with everything. It's hard to actually sit down and really think. You're just reacting and trying to keep things moving forward. But this will be a good time for, our staff and a lot of other staffs out there to just sit down and think and plan and, just figure out where to go next.
I look at the momentum you guys built this year, and you really had a fantastic year, man. You won a bunch of MAC duels. You had a bunch of placers at the MAC tournament. And obviously everybody's getting shot in the foot by this, though. But I don't know if anybody's getting shot in the foot more than Cleveland State. Right? You had real momentum going into this. Would you agree?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I thought our guys wrestled about as well as we could at the MAC championships, and we were just excited about the opportunity for Evan Cheek. But obviously for us, trying to get someone on the podium was kind of that next step. I think it's been 25 years.
Dan Carcelli, 1994.
Yeah, Dan Carcelli. Yeah. So we're and I think honestly Evan had a good shot. I mean, he was 36-5 on the year. I think he was one of the leaders in the wins. Everybody in the country, he was in the best shape of his life, wrestling well, very confident. Anything can happen, and that's the tough part is, who's going to step up, of course, next. If Evan doesn't get another year back, and this has been, he's a fifth-year senior. It's been a long time in the making, and I knew when he was a freshman. First time I wrestled with him, I was kind of thinking this kid definitely has the ability to get it done. That not everybody does. I mean, obviously you try to make people think that they can get it done, but this Evan, he had the work ethic, he had the skills, he had the toughness, and it was going to be exciting to see how he could get it done. But I mean, I think we're still, obviously proud of him, proud of the guys, proud of our true freshmen that stepped up this year, and that's huge. I mean, we had 4 freshmen in our lineup most of the year, 3 true freshmen, and for us to be, winning matches, and really we were one match away from beating a couple other MAC teams that would have been nice, would have been even a really great season. But I think just our development of our young guys, and all the changes that we went through in the last couple of years, I think it's shows a lot of improvement.
Did you beat Kent State and did you beat Edinburgh? That's what's most important to me. I gotta let you know that. Did you beat those 2 teams at the MAC tournament?
Yeah.
You beat them both? You beat both of them?
Well, I mean, we beat a lot of. Yeah, I think so. Right? I don't know. Look at the score.
I gotta look at the scores. I know you beat them both in a duel. Right?
Right.
That's
we beat
huge.
Buffalo and Kent in the duel. Yeah.
You didn't beat Edinburgh in the duel?
Yeah. We didn't wrestle.
You didn't. Okay, so they weren't on the schedule. So you beat Buffalo. Right. You beat Kent. Who were all the MAC wins you guys had? Did you beat SIU?
George Mason.
George. Yeah, I was there for that. That was a good duel.
Yeah, Bloomsburg.
You guys beat Bloom. So you won 4 MAC duels.
And then SIU Edwardsville.
So you won 5 MAC duels.
So
that's pretty good.
5 MAC duels.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, and we were close to. We were 1 match away from beating OU. The cool thing is, at the MAC championships, we overcame a few of those losses that we do that in the duel, and then we get to victory. But that was the most exciting thing, I guess, we wanted to look at was, hey, we wrestled throughout the year. We wrestled a lot of freshmen. Let's improve on that at the MAC championships. And you could go through probably half the weight classes, and we were beating guys we lost to. And we have true freshmen Logan Heil, Finn and Luke Warner, who's ranked number 8 in the country, number 10 in the country. You don't a lot of times you don't see true freshmen beating guys that are top 10.
Wow, he had a good year, man.
DeAndre Nassar, small D3 kid, one-time state champ.
Bluffton,
Michigan State kid.
Bluffton.
Yeah, good old Bluffton.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just having those guys being competitive this year, really helped us. It didn't matter if they were true freshmen.
That's awesome, Coach.
So they'll be all back next year.
The future's so bright for you, man, especially with how you guys competed in duels this year. It's crazy. It's crazy how good you guys have gotten under your tenure. Is this year 2 or year 3?
Second year.
Second year.
Yep.
How long have you been on the staff?
5 total.
5 total. So 2 is the head man. But as you took over, I guess my point, the jump I've seen since you took over is like amazing. It's like amazing. Like you guys are a different team.
Yeah, the first couple of years were a little rough with recruiting, and obviously just after the program was dropped and the lack of success and some other things, it was a little tough. But we're definitely on the right track. Looking at our recruiting class from last year that was in the lineup this year, and then our kids we're bringing in, just overall changing the culture and just getting really good, solid kids with character, and Ohio kids too, which is great. I mean, I know you want me to recruit more PA kids, Ed, but
Dude,
I think for us to build,
can you really argue with me? Come on. Can you argue with me? Stop it. I mean, look at how deep the state is. Look at come on, man. You're a PA guy. You know better than I do.
Yeah, we got to stay loyal, though. We got to stay loyal leaders of Ohio.
I got you.
We're absolutely gonna continue to try to pick a couple kids up from PA, and but Ohio kids we're gonna make our living here, and we understand that. But we're gonna keep working hard, and I think the more success we have, the more eyes we're gonna open up, and the more opportunities to recruit those better kids will happen.
Awesome, man. The future's so bright for you guys. It's like I love watching you guys compete. Every duel, hey, I'm your lucky charm. I show up to a duel, you win, just so you know.
I know.
You know that? Every duel I come to, you won this year, right? So, all right, hey.
Love it.
We got Tommy. Tommy, you're in the screen. Tommy just jumped in the screen a little bit. So, all right.
What's he do?
Tommy, hey, he's a real piece of work. Real piece of work. He's 2. So, all right, Josh, you got anything else for me?
No. I'm sure you'll stay busy over this break, and hopefully you see some more commits coming up in the next week or two that are going to help us get to that next spot.
Awesome, man. Well, hang out a little bit here after this. I'm gonna cut this live video right here, and then I'll talk to you a little bit afterwards. All right?
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right, man. Here, let me get rid of this live.